Hey guys, welcome to episode 5. So in all the previous episodes, we've been using solely the daily time frame. But the problem with using only one time frame is that you are not seeing the big picture, or the entire picture. So here is the first key to finding dynamic support and resistance, which is through using the higher time frames, meaning the weekly and the monthly time frames. So as a reminder, each candle on the weekly time frame represents a week's time, and each candle on the monthly time frame represents 1 month's time. So here's the key, and make sure you remember this. If you can spot the obvious support and resistance areas on the weekly and monthly time frame, then you can begin to see the larger picture as these areas of support and resistance that are clearly visible on the weekly and monthly hold more weight and strength. So let's jump right into an example. Here in the Kiwi CAD, as you can see on the daily time frame, there is support and resistance everywhere. Now, I'm not saying that these areas are invalid, as we do use them in our strategies, but what we want to focus on is the main dynamic support and resistance areas, because you always want to have the bigger picture in mind. Now, what we are looking for on the monthly time frame is support and resistance areas that are very obvious, meaning that a lot of support and resistance that is visible on the daily is not visible on the weekly and monthly. So we are looking for the visible and obvious levels that show themselves on the weekly and monthly. Right away, look at the top. It should be clear as day to you. You should be able to spot the 4 rejections right away. Now, look at the bottom here. It is a recent swing low support, and it has also acted as resistance twice over here on the left. And now this level here, it acted as support 3 times and resistance here as well. I also like to make my lines a specific color to represent them as monthly or weekly levels, so that when you jump between levels or go down to the daily and see these lines drawn in, I'll know where they came from. Now that we have the monthly support and resistance areas plotted, we will jump down a time frame to the weekly to fine tune these lines to accommodate for the weekly time frame. Notice how well the lines we drew in on the monthly appear on the weekly, to give you a better insight and to reveal a multitude of rejections. Now, here on the weekly, there are some levels that aren't visible on the monthly that are only visible on the weekly. As you can see from these 5 rejections here, this is a level of weekly support, so I'm going to add this in. Now I see another level up top here, which is an extreme swing high, meaning the highest point that price got in recent time. Once we go down a time frame, you will see a vast amount of support and resistance areas, but you'll know where the key lines are. So now let's jump down to the daily time frame. So now on the daily, you can see why we chose to color the lines as they remind us where they came from, whether it was the monthly or the weekly. Now let me make something clear. This does not mean that the daily support and resistance levels are invalid, but we use this method as a scaling technique, meaning we put more emphasis on price levels from the monthly and weekly as they act as dynamic support and resistance levels. So let's do this again on another pair. Here's the CAD Swiss. By now you should be able to spot these areas right away. It acted as support here and as resistance 5 times. Now along the bottom, now let's jump down to the weekly to fine tune these areas. Notice here in the weekly how clear and obvious these levels are. Going from the higher time frame downwards helps you filter out all the noise on the charts and to focus on the key areas which are the most important. Now, Just like we reiterate in every lesson, we don't just take trades at these levels. We use them as guidance, and we still need price action and confirmation and the strategy we use before entering at these levels. We always want the market to show its hand, and evidently we dive more in depth with these entries in our strategies section. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.